Man,
We didn't need to show up in person.
I know we were supposed to do this over the fucking over the fucking online, like just using computer mics, but this dumbass showed up in front of my house, like
Oh,
literally.
that's
I thought you said like 1:15, as in like it take that long to take a shit. I was like, wow, how does this guy know when him taking a shit is gonna end? You know what I mean?
It's because I factored in the time that drive here.
Yeah, I know. That's what you meant. I was like, fucking Gordon.
Oh man.
Alright, so this is our first episode of Manly Game Talks. It's the same thing as a Manly fighting game podcast, except we're not talking about fighting games. We're just talking about games in general, right? And it
Okay.
just so happens that, me and Gordon play a lot of the similar games,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Wilson and Phil don't really play a lot of games outside of fighting games, right?
Okay.
Even when
Yeah.
they do, it's kind of like not the same games as we
That's
play.
true.
So, for the most part, it's just going to be us two on this sub series
Okay.
podcast. Alright, so, first thing we want to talk about is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, it's not, just to preface this a little bit, we're not hating on it because we hate Square or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I played a
I'll
lot
hold
of
back first.
Yeah, Gordon will hold back, I think. So,
Okay.
So I just want to preface this by like it's not like a hater kind of talk. It's more like a realistic expectations, because there's a lot of hype about it, but I'm not feeling that hype, and it's a kind of a more realistic take on what we think about.
The game could be when
Yeah.
it comes out.
Yeah. So, Gordon, why don't you tell me what you think about how it looks so far? I guess you could start with the battle system, graphics, and the alleged leaks.
Okay, so if we want to talk battle system first, I just
Mhm.
hope that it's not gonna be another Final Fantasy 15 combat system, because you literally just hold one or two buttons in that game and everything. There's no depth to it.
Mhm.
You might warp strike here and there, but the game's very forgiving when it
Mhm.
comes to combat, and it's just not. I don't find it challenging at all.
Mm-hmm.
And
What about depth? Is there depth?
well, I mean, with that one update where you could switch between characters, I guess like Prompto, you can play it like an FPS.
Mm-hmm.
Gladiolus, like you can block and parry and things like that.
But is that all in the same battle system, or is it only in the specific DLC chapters?
Well, they added it as like everyone can get that, like everyone can switch for free.
Uh-huh.
It used to be DLC. No, not now. It isn't anymore.
So if we were to play this game right now with all the DLC and shit, it will have the whole character switching as in the original
Yeah,
trailers.
like in the original like trailers that only took 2.5 years to come out, but that's the story for another time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just hope that the battle system will be better than 15, because 15 is a letdown.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of how it looks,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can just tell from the screenshots just looking at it right away. It
Mhm.
doesn't look like. I mean, it might not be that noticeable at first, but if you compare it side to side from, the original, like the trailer back in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't look as good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like there are less polygons on, the character models. The lighting is different. I mean, you can just tell just by looking at Cloud, he looks more pixely than before, and it's not just the screen. It's not like screenshot quality here,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just looking at it, like from watching the more recent trailer,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there are less effects in general. I do feel that graphical fidelity was toned down,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't really say more than that just because I don't have anything to compare with other than the one
Itself.
trailer. Yeah, than itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so those leaks that came out maybe a couple weeks ago, they were saying something like the game's gonna be split into two parts,
Mm-hmm.
and the first part's gonna end where after Aerith dies and like Cloud's like placing her in like the pool,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where it cuts off, and that's where then the second part comes in. Both will be $60 full price games, and they say that each part is gonna be the same length as Final Fantasy 15, but that doesn't really sit well with me, because I don't feel like, well, I feel like in terms of like game length, Final Fantasy 15 was made artificially long, in that I don't feel like it had, real substance to a lot of the things you were doing in chapters. Like, you would be going around doing like a bunch of side quests that weren't really related to the main story, and you could kind of just like skip everything, Like, I remember on day one midnight release of Final Fantasy 15, it got released at midnight. A couple hours later, you see someone just they speed ran the whole thing in like 4 or 5 hours. That's not the kind of length an RPG should be having. And especially for something, that's been in development for so long. But, enough about 15. So, more on FF7's battle system. From the leak, they were saying you had two kinds of attacks, like the light and the heavy attacks. And the light attacks would charge up, or they would let you charge up to do, the heavy attacks. And each character would have something different based on, the weapon they were using.
They said the heavy attacks would also finish off.
Yeah, like the finisher or something like that. Well,
okay.
I mean, it sounds more interesting than 15, but just from me looking at it, it kind of looks similar to. It kind of just looks like a glorified 15, and I mean, there's only so much. I know there's only so much you can do based with if you're trying to make like an action RPG, but at the same time you're trying to incorporate like the ATB system, and it's like, well, that kind of limits you,
Yeah.
But off the top of my head, that's all I remember from the leaks.
All right, I think we're mostly in agreement on our impressions of the game, because I don't know about graphically though. I think it looks good either way, but
that's true.
I honestly couldn't tell the difference between. Like the old version and the current version, unless you put it like side by side.
Yeah, like I'm not saying like it looks bad by any means. I'm just saying that in comparison to what they showed originally, it's not the same.
Yeah, I get that. It's just that to me, right? Like, I guess like if they went with the old look from the original 2015 trailer versus the current look, like I honestly wouldn't be able to fucking tell the difference because it's not that different. To me personally, and secondly, I don't know, like whether it looks better or worse now or then. Like there's some people, like you say, it looks worse now. Some people say it looks better, right?
That's true.
But for me, I don't think it fucking matters, cause like I said,
it looks alright regardless.
I couldn't tell the difference, but I think it looks great. It's just that I don't think anybody can make the argument that the either version of the looks better or worse than the other. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess.
Like, no, I could see why you think this looks worse than the original one, and why, and I could see why some people think this looks better than the original one. But honestly, I don't think there's a clear. It's not obvious. Right? It's not. It's ambiguous. I think it's up to opinion as to which look better, like before or then. But like to me personally, it looks the fucking same. Right? Like, you can't really get much better or worse looking than this.
That's true.
Or better or worse looking than that, right? Like, to me, the difference doesn't really matter. Battle system, though, I definitely agree that it just looks like a less uglier version of 15. Like, 15 just looked ugly and clunky. This looks better. It probably feels better. But fundamentally, it doesn't seem better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Right, you're still pressing a couple buttons. You got some commands and stuff, right? And I think some people will find it fun. But as someone who's played like both real-time and turn-based RPGs that are both really good, like Super Mario RPG, the Trail series, the Tales series, right, and other games, right? I want this game to be like fucking fun. Right? And have you played the original?
Of 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You played it and beaten it?
Not beating it, but I've gotten through to at least Cosmo Kid.
Got it. Okay. Because I'm playing through it right now.
Okay.
And I like ATB, but I think at the time there are other games that predated or were in the same generation that are more fun to play. Right? Like Legends of Dragoon, Mega Man Legends, Super Mario RPG, again another older game that was turn based. So I mean, it looks great. It's got the popularity, but it's still a game, and I want it to be fucking fun. Okay, because I go back to Super Mario RPG, I still play that. It's like fun as hell, right? And Chrono Trigger, same could be said for that, right?
That's true.
So kind of hoping the same goes for this, because there's other games out there, even like Xenoblade. It's similar. It doesn't have the ATB gauge, but it does have like a cooldown period before you can act again, and then you attack again, right? And that game's really good and really popular and really fun. So I'm kind of hoping Square is not so full of itself that it could pull its own head out of its ass and be like, hey, you know what? All these competitors are doing something, good. Maybe we should kind of innovate.
Right.
And the trailer doesn't seem like it has that innovation. Now, it could be wrong, right? Because it's just a trailer.
It's just a trailer. We don't know.
We don't know for sure.
All of this is just speculation talk.
Yeah, it is. It's just that with what little footage we've seen, it's a little concerning because after so much of a wait, you would want to see more than just quick cutscenes, right? We want to see kind of like longer periods of gameplay.
The first trailer
footage.
was released in like 2015.
Yeah.
And now you flash forward like 4 years later. I mean, I would expect a little more than just
Barrett footage?
1 or 2 Barrett footage, 1 or 2 minutes. Well, I mean, I guess there was like...
Took us 2 years to finish another character model, guys. And battle animations.
Oh, speaking of characters, I just remembered, like, as for, like, getting, like Yuffie and Vincent, in the original you could miss them, but I remember the leak saying that
they're mandatory?
They're mandatory, yeah. And, like, after a certain point, you will, like, they'll join automatically.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I agree with that decision. Even if all the leaks were true, like the positive, because they're all very positive leaks, right?
Yeah, they're
like
all positive leaks. True. There's nothing like bad about it.
Because if all that were true, it would sound a lot better than most people would probably think or were worried about.
Yeah.
But even if it's all true, it's still not like.
It could be better.
It could be better. The 2 installment things is concerning. It's not because it's not like a. It's not like, man, this game is so fucking big, we have to pack it in like 2 installments, right?
No.
It's not like, that's Trails, right? This is more like, we've been working at this game so long, we don't have much to show for it, we can't finish the whole game, so we're releasing in multiple installments.
See, that always bothered me from day one. It's like, well, the original final... Okay, it's not like the original FF7 was released on multiple discs because of...
That was a space concern.
That was a hardware concern. Like,
Yeah.
that was just the limitation of technology at the time.
Yeah.
That's not the case like this anymore. Like, you can easily fit a 200, 300 hour long game.
Yeah, it's not a size issue for sure.
I know. Like,
Yeah.
you fucking look at Zelda, or you look at, Xenoblade. Like, fucking those are 200, 300 hour games long.
That's true.
I mean, hours long.
And they came in one installment, no
They came
DLC.
One installment.
Yeah, so it's definitely, there's no question that it's not a space issue. It's definitely just a development issue. Now they did say, to be fair, that they'll expand more on it. So, because keep in mind, like the original game is kind of like in the older era of games, right? There wasn't games like Trails and Xenoblade and truly open world games at the time where there's so much shit to do.
They do have to like, open up more areas for the player to. Because I mean, if it's just a 1-for-1 remake of the original, I don't think people would be very happy with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some people will be, but
yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that they'll need to add to justify it. But let's say that even if they do that, right? Let's say even if they do that, it's still not justifiable for a 2 installment game.
Yeah,
because.
Am I gonna pay $120 for a game experience, man? You better be packing in some content, bud.
Yeah, the 2 games combined would have to be like really long, right?
Exactly.
Because like you said, you mentioned Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade, and those games were like over 100.
Yeah,
minimum,
easily over 100 hours.
Minimum over 100, yeah. So these 2 games combined is like only up to 80. That's a standard RPG length. You know what I mean?
And I'm paying twice the price for that?
Twice the price.
Man. I might as well just buy Octopath Traveler and fucking do something else with my time or something.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, kind of hoping that they show a lot more better stuff at E3 rather than like, because everything we've been getting so far, it's kind of very bare minimum, right? So we'll show this really quick, and then
Boom, cut
more
to another scene,
cutscenes.
yeah.
Yeah, cutscenes. So,
But okay.
oh yeah, the leak also mentioned a demo that might be available.
That
So I
available
think-
at E3? Well, we're gonna find out soon.
Yeah, we'll find out soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's enough about the Final Fantasy VII remake.
On the E3.
Yep, on to E3. So, it's pretty damn
Holy
big.
shit, June 11th? Damn, that's gonna be real soon.
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks.
That's okay. I didn't expect it to be that soon. Fuck.
Wow, you don't keep track? Yeah, it's always in June, around like
Okay.
the 10th or 11th.
Yeah. Okay. I've been out of the loop as to like when the dates are for these kind of things, but anyway.
Yeah, it's always pretty exciting time of the year for me.
Okay.
So, all right, Gordon. So, what kind of announcements do you expect, and what do you want? So, let's start with what do you expect?
What I expect from E3.
Yeah. You know what? How about I go first?
Okay. Yeah. How about you go first? Just.
All right. So for sure, I think the Smash DLC announcement.
Right.
For
Okay.
sure, like, there's just no way they're not gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because there's some people who like the leaks and shit, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, it's gonna be a Smash DLC announcement. I'm like, man, you don't need a leak. That's definitely gonna happen. This is E3. There's no, and it's been a while since we got Joker.
That's true.
There's no way they're not gonna announce
Announce the next one.
I'd be surprised if we didn't get one.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna go off on a limb and say that maybe we'll get a teaser for the third one.
Actually, that's who I expect. A teaser for the third DLC character. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, because Nintendo does these announcements. It's like, hey, we're announcing this, and then it's also available right now.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like the second DLC character will be available not too long after they make the announcement, and then they'll tease the third one.
Wait, is Joker not the second DLC character?
No, he's the first. Piranha Plant is like.
All right. Piranha Plant doesn't count.
Yeah, because he's free. He's free, right? And so I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know if they'll add more content to it.
I mean,
maybe some balance changes.
Maybe some balance changes. I don't really know what else you can add besides.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of covered everything. They have like the stage maker.
I guess they could add trophies if they ever want to bring them back.
Yeah,
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think that's gonna happen. They
Yeah.
they made that whole spiel about replacing like trophies with spirits and shit.
Nah, fuck
Yeah.
that. But as to the guesses on who it will be, I honestly don't have a clue at this point.
I don't even have a clue at this point. I mean, I'm hopeful for Rex from Xenoblade 2, but
Yeah, Xenoblade 2 would be great.
it would be great, but with fucking Joker getting in from someone who's not ever been on like.
And he was in
Nintendo.
because Sakurai liked the game a lot.
He's in because the director likes Persona a lot, but
Yeah,
so now that just broke the rule of someone who was being someone who the DLC guest characters have to be somebody from that appeared on some sort of Nintendo console at some point.
Yeah.
Well, Joker just broke that mold, so whoever could be the next one's like just up in the air now.
Yeah, there's really no telling
Yeah.
what kind of announcement. It could be a really obscure character, it could be another guest character, it
Yeah.
could be anything really at this point. So
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna waste my time trying to guess who it is.
Right.
I'm expecting. Well, I was gonna say a trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yes,
but
that I remember them announcing it, but other than announcing it, like we don't know anything about it.
yeah, well,
So, yeah.
we're getting a direct on that next week actually. So it's not gonna
I
be.
think I saw that this morning before.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Okay.
June 5th
Mhm.
at 6 a.m. for us.
Like 15-minute long.
Yeah, 15
direct.
minutes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised because usually with E3 being so close, you would
They
just
wouldn't.
lump that with
E3.
with E3,
Okay.
right? So it leads
Maybe
me to
they have
believe
even more news.
exactly. So it's obvious that the Pokemon content's big enough for it to be its own announcement.
To be split into this and E3.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then E3 will still have plenty of its own shit to announce.
Okay.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, so that throws that out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with Fire Emblem being so close, we'll get another trailer for that.
Yeah.
I think.
For Three Houses.
Yep. And Daemon X Machina and Astro Train.
Oh yeah,
Chain.
Astral Train.
Yeah.
Astral Chain.
Well, both of them are summer releases, so
yeah, they were
for
both summer releases. Both
so
on
I think
Switch.
it's pretty obvious that those two will get trailers as well. which I'm pretty excited for. Trailers and a release date for Daemon X Machina.
Yes.
Yeah, which we'll talk about later on. But yeah, there's some other games that have been announced we don't really know anything about. So I think we might get trailers for Bayonetta 3.
Bayonetta.
Town,
right.
And Luigi's Mansion 3.
What about Metroid Prime 4?
Nah, I don't think so.
Not yet?
Not
or
yet.
Too soon?
Too soon, because they recently announced that Retro Studios is taking over. Because Bandai Namco fucked it up, right? And well, I don't know who fucked it up, but it wasn't going the direction they wanted.
They wanted it, so they took over.
Yeah, so, and that was pretty recent. So I don't think they'll have much.
Not just yet. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they'll have much to show. And speaking of faraway announcements, I don't think we'll also get. There's another one where I think we might not see too much of. Oh yeah, no new Zelda, because you know how like there's that news of Monolith Soft
just expanding.
Hiring, expanding and hiring people for a new Zelda game.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see anything on that either. We'll probably see some talks about it, but no footage for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think though.
I mean, you're free to prove us wrong, Nintendo. Fuck.
Yeah, I know. I think we'll get probably trailers for like the new Animal Crossing because that was announced.
Yeah, that was announced.
And then Link's Awakening remake.
Right, the one on like the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one looks pretty cool.
It looks pretty fun, actually.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited for that. So I think for sure we'll see additional trailers for those two, because that's like a handful of games that have been announced, but we don't know much about.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get news on those, and I think we'll get a Xenoblade announcement. I don't think we might see a trailer.
It might be some sort of like announcement. I mean,
yeah, it might be nothing more.
2
than an
is
announcement.
at least like 2 years old now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it might be a 2020 release.
Yeah, that seems. Well, I mean, if Monolith Soft follows like their basic like release schedule, announce it, release it a year after, and then
if we pay attention to the timeline wise, I think it makes sense for that. But we'll see. Now for Final Fantasy VIII Switch port, I want that.
Really?
Yeah, that's something I want, because a lot of these games being ported to the Switch, it's just really fun playing on that console, but especially if they're like ports and older RPGs.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, do you think they're gonna? I mean, they're eventually. I feel like they're gonna port all the FFs to the Switch eventually.
Yeah, they got fucking 7, 9, 10, and
7,
12.
9, 10, 12.
And I think 8 should be on there.
8 should be on the way.
Crystal Chronicles is on the way.
Fucking hurry the hell up, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. So I think we'll get announcements, maybe release dates on both of those, hopefully. And something that's not really Nintendo related, but Cyberpunk 2077.
What is that?
You ever seen Witcher 3?
Yeah.
Alright, you know how it is, right? Open world.
Yeah, like open world RPG.
So Cyberpunk is made by the same people who made that game, right? And it's set in a futuristic, like sci-fi world.
Oh, interesting.
So you got guns and shit. It's a Witcher 3 set in the future. Just put it that way.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of like sci-fi games that that have an RPG element, right?
That's true. Now that I think about it, most of them are like they're set in like either a fantasy world or like in the past.
Yeah, and also a lot of the sci-fi games are kind of like FPS. It basically boils down to FPS or it's some sort of horror game. Yeah. Right? Mass Effect is like probably the only example I could think of where it was like an RPG.
Yeah. And you know how Mass Effect Andromeda turned out.
Yeah, that one's a shame. That's definitely a shame. So I'm pretty excited for this because I saw the trailer for it. I'll probably link it to you later because it seems like you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't even know what it is.
But I'm pretty excited for that. I think it might make an announcement.
Okay.
It's probably still like deep into development.
Yeah.
So I won't expect much more than like a trailer.
What about, do you think there will be more Code Vein footage? Because after, the stress test is going to be like in a couple days. Do you think they'll have more to show after?
I'm kind of hoping, because that one was also announced. Like I've been following this series a lot longer than you have.
Yeah, I just found out about like a month ago.
And it's long overdue. I'm just going to say that. It's
Okay.
been long overdue because it was supposed to be out in 2018, and then it got delayed. And then it's like a TBA 2019.
Okay.
Now it did say like, well, we'll finally kind of release it in 2019,
Mhm.
but I don't believe that we have a window, right? Like a
Yeah,
summer,
true. It just said
fall.
2019.
Yeah,
That was it.
so hopefully we'll see something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all my predictions and kind of like what's on my wish list
Mhm.
too.
Okay.
Anything else, Gordon?
Well, I mean, I was about to say a Tekken season 3, but we have Evil for that, so
Yeah, that's definitely
yeah.
evil kind of thing going on. But
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of the games that have been announced, let's talk about some of the bigger titles that's coming out
Three Houses.
this summer. So Fire Emblem Three Houses is one of them. It's coming out in July,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm kind of feeling mixed about this one, Gordon.
I was waiting for you to say something first because
Okay, first
I also feel mixed, but yeah. Anyway,
my first gripe about this game is it's kind of like the art style, because
it doesn't feel very like Fire Emblem.
yeah, it doesn't
Like?
feel very Fire Emblem. Like it feels very like a shitty kind of anime game look to it in terms of design.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the protagonist, it looks very like boring compared to like Fire Emblem Awakening and Fate's
Yeah.
protagonist.
I would.
design.
I would. Well, I mean,
I'm not
yeah.
talking about the graphics either, right?
not of course, like not graphics wise.
Yeah, because I mean, like 3D Fire Emblem has never been never been pretty looking.
It's never been like pretty. Like you look at, Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, like back on the GameCube days, like
Yeah,
it wasn't like super like good looking.
yeah, it was pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
But that is like the least of my concerns. I'm not really worried about that. I'm
Yeah,
more
like
worried
graphics
about,
wise, like whatever.
yeah, I'm talking specifically character design. It just looks very like, I don't know, plainish.
Like unpopular opinion or whatever, but I mean, just looking at the three lords or whatever, like the girl Edelgard, like I don't just looking at I don't really follow the hype.
Yeah.
Like it just I don't know. It could just be my own opinion, but
Yeah, for me, it's just the design so far, and also the kind of like the story backdrop, which is like you're an instructor and you're teaching.
see that always the setting kind of confused me. So you're telling me that there are these three kingdoms, neck and neck with each other at some sort of war, but somehow there's this kind of school that sends all three of those,
Yeah.
like people who belong to that kingdom and like the students and royals or whatever, and you're telling me they all get along at this one school?
Yeah, so
And
you're
that-
basically an instructor from these three
Yeah.
people who are from three different kingdoms. So number one is like, I guess, where's the conflict going to be if these three kingdoms are not at war? I guess who the hell would be the enemy?
Exactly. So
And secondly, why is there a need for it? If it is indeed like a time of peace and stuff, right? And they're all going to the same military academy, I
Yeah.
guess. Like, because the whole point is like, if there's a military academy, you're preparing them for a potential war.
for
Like,
some kind of war.
yeah, like in
right?
Troyes of Cold Steel, right? There's
Yeah.
the always that conflict with Calvard.
Yeah.
Right? Here, where's the conflict? Right?
Like, there is none.
Yeah. So I'm a
Well, I mean, obviously, if they're all going to school with each other, I don't really see where the fighting is gonna take place.
Yeah, and it's mainly because Japan's has a lot of this. They like their school.
They like their
setting.
school settings.
They like their school
Yeah.
setting. So this is kind of like an excuse to have that school setting, but I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Not sure I follow this.
I don't think it has a place in the Fire Emblem kind of universe.
Well, I mean, even with how lukewarm Fates turned out to be, at least they had the setting right. It's literally an army, like going to war with each other.
Yeah.
And regardless of how that turned out, like this is arguably the first Fire Emblem where it's not very clear, where the war is exactly happening, who's fighting what,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, and also like the concern with the school setting. I mean, not that it's bad, because Cold Steel turned out to be great, right? Valkyria Chronicles 2 turned out to be really good.
That's also true.
It's just that the pattern of the recent Fire Emblem games have been going, like more anime, and with it comes a lot more cliches.
That's true.
And like Awakening, I still think it's a very solid Fire Emblem entry.
Yeah, that's true.
But when Fates came out, there was a lot of gimmicky fucking characters.
They took it a step too far.
There's a lot of gimmicky fucking characters. You got fucking like this Captain America guy, right? You
Right.
got like the sadistic people, I guess. You got all these whack ass personalities.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is continuing that trend,
Mhm.
right? Because like, again, it goes back to the typical school setting where every character's got some sort of fucking gimmick, right?
Yeah.
You got the crazy person, you got the pervert, you got all the archetypes.
Yeah, you got
book. And this is like an ultimate. It's leaning more towards that direction of cliches, which I'm not really a fan of, Gordon.
Likewise. I mean, we were hyped about it when it first got announced, but as more news came out about it, I'm feeling.
Yeah, I'm feeling mixed.
Yeah.
I don't. And not to say that the game won't be fun or anything. I mean, there hasn't been a Fire Emblem where it's like, okay, this is so disappointing that I'm kind of changing my opinion about the series.
Yeah.
Right? I'm kind of hoping that this trumps a lot of our concerns, and it ends up remaining still good.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for example, the fist class.
Yeah, the fist class. Like, there's. Is that gonna be like how like the bow exists outside of the triangle? So is that gonna be like the close combat variant of like the bow where it's not affected by?
Yeah.
It's not weak or strong to anything. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, that's what I think it'll be.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that too. That'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now the battle system. I'm kind of hoping it retains like the seamless transition that came from
Echoes.
Cause,
That was so sick, man.
Right?
Oh man.
Like, did you notice that when you fight an opponent and they're adjacent to you already,
Yeah.
then you just start in place. But if you move your unit into combat,
Yeah, he runs
they're
in.
running towards
Al
them.
runs in, and he just. Oh
That was
man,
like
that was so sick.
The coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
And I think Fire Emblem has never looked better.
Then Echoes, I have
Yeah.
to agree. Echoes.
Echoes is just.
I feel like in terms of just the little things like what you just said, and in terms of like just the art style, I think it has never looked better. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping that it retains more Echo stuff.
Yeah.
As much as possible, like mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
animation, little things.
Yeah.
Compared to like Fates, although already it seems like it's taking on some Fate stuff with the whole anime cliche shit. So I mean, we'll still give it a try.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Just like I gave Fate a shot, but
Yeah.
there's I just hope it won't turn out like it.
Yeah. Same here. Same here. All right. Next up, we got on our list is Damon X Machina. Man.
Oh
You
man,
played the demo.
the demo was so fun, dude. Like,
I
it
think-
felt for a demo, it felt very complete.
Yeah.
For a demo.
Yeah. It felt more than a demo, really.
Yeah.
It felt like more than a demo.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, there's
Mhm.
a lot of content for a simple demo.
Right.
And I don't think it has a limit on how long you can play the demo. Like
That's
most
true.
demos, right? There's
Mhm.
like a time limit demo, right? Or
Yeah, like you think about like more recent demos, like back with Resident Evil 2, like you only have 30 minutes to play the fucking game.
yeah,
And then there's like the DMC5 demo, which granted you don't have a time limit, but
Mhm.
you were obviously limited in like what techniques and skills you could use.
Mhm.
But here, you do whatever the fuck you want, man.
it's a straight up sample of the
It's a
beginning
sample
of
of the game, yeah.
the game. Yeah. So I mean, which is what it should be.
It should be, right?
Yeah. So so it seems like we're both in agreement that this game is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
So
it looks fun.
It is fun. It does. You don't have to say it looks.
Yeah.
Fun. It is fun.
It is fun, yeah.
Have you played a lot of mecha games? I played.
Honestly, no, not that many.
I played the older Gundam games, Journey to Jaburo.
All right, those.
And I played some Armored Core.
Armored
I
Core.
only played the fifth one on the PS3,
3,
but that one sucked. And apparently the older Armored Cores are way better.
way better.
And I checked out some of the ones like Project Nimbus and whatnot on PC and Steam,
Uh-huh.
but they didn't look very I don't know, not my kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this like fulfills that need for a mecha
This
game.
floats your boat.
Yeah, this floats my fucking boat, man. This is like the bee's knees shit.
Indeed.
And it's already the best mecha game I've ever played,
Wow.
just based on the demo by itself.
Yeah.
Because, like,
This bitch.
yeah, this boss is a bitch. But look, it feels the controls are fun. I like the UI, the
Yeah.
map. right?
Mhm.
Like, cause in a mecha game, there's a lot of shit that happens on screen. It
Yeah.
can be very confusing and
It's
easy to
very
get
hectic
lost.
if you don't know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but Daemon X Machina, it doesn't. I don't get lost in it, right?
Mhm.
Like, I know what my buttons are. I know what the weapons are,
Mhm.
right? It clearly explains like where you can get more ammo,
Mhm.
that you can pick up objects and throw
Yeah.
them, that you could switch weapons
Mhm.
mid battle after
Yeah.
picking them up, and like the map is probably the most important part
Mm.
because everything is properly color coded, right? And you know
Oh yeah,
exactly
that's true.
you know exactly what each thing is, and then like in this battle, not only is this big motherfucker, right? There's also all these little like drones and shit
Yeah, like
flying
around it. Yeah.
and like you can clearly see like what's around you and shit. So spatial awareness in a pretty hectic mecha game is pretty
Yeah.
important, and I think this game does a good job at like
Yeah.
not making you feel lost in the chaos.
Yeah.
And in the battle in the city or whatever, right? That
Oh, yeah.
that was pretty chaotic too. But I didn't feel like, oh, there's too much shit going on.
Or it's like, it's like, oh shit, I just killed this thing. Where the fuck do I go next? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my point is, it's like it feels to me like it's a really clean and polished game. Like
Yeah.
I like it a lot. And honestly, there's not much that like I mean, I could even if there's not that many improvements from the demo, I would play the whole fucking game.
I mean, honestly, just from playing it, I find it I find it hard to fault them for what they had. I mean, if you ask me like, oh, what did you not like about it? It's like, well, I can't really give you a straight answer because there wasn't a thing that I didn't like.
Yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't really find anything where like, oh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. Like it felt like a very satisfying, full experience.
Yeah.
Like everything about it was just fucking fun.
Like even down to like the customization and shit. Like
yeah,
that was good.
that was really good. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, the customization. Actually, no, I'll get to that in a bit.
Okay.
One thing I really did want to see, because remember that one scene where, like, in the second or third mission, those two guys came out in a cinematic cutscene and they finished that giant monster.
Yeah, the giant.
Giant mecha.
The mech.
Not monster.
Monster.
But I was like, holy fuck, that's cool, because that had some, like, Xenoblade-like cinematography. Right? Movement, the way the cutscene was directed.
Wait, which company is this made at? It's not made by Monolith Software.
No, it's not. It's not. It's by, I think it's Marvelous Studios.
Marvelous Studios?
Yeah. But I don't quote me on that. Right?
Oh, okay.
I'm not about to look at it right now, but yeah, it's not the same people
Not
for
the
sure.
same.
But it does remind me.
I mean, obviously, it does remind me of X.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of wishing or hoping that you could get to do cooler things with the sword.
Okay.
That's the only thing I want from the game. It's just to do more things with the sword.
With the sword?
Yeah. It's still fun, don't get me wrong, but it would be cool to have some shit, more shit to do with it.
Okay.
But still fun. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you that there's not much more that I want from this game other than play the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the combat, I feel like I could always have fun with it.
Yeah?
Yeah. So what kind of Gundams are you gonna make? I'm gonna make F91 and Tallgeese.
I say that. I say I'm just gonna end up making the red frame and bring only a sword, but I'm gonna get fucked if I only have that. So.
And make it Exia?
Yeah, make it Exia. It's like, well, I ain't got a gun, so I'm gonna get in there and
like 4 swords or something.
7 swords and shit. Oh man, that game's gonna be fun. I wonder if there will be like multiplayer down the line. Like,
there will be.
With Switch Online? Oh yeah.
Yeah, there is. That's confirmed already. So we're gonna have online play.
That's
good. Yeah, and yeah, I can just give you that free subscription
Even
I'm gonna
more,
get from Mario Maker 2.
With the 1 year. Oh man, that's
yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing bad to say about this game other than like it's just a really good mecha game. Like at first, I was a little hesitant about the graphical style, but it actually looks fucking cool. Like they're so shaded.
I like the shot. That's the first thing that stood out to me. Like, it almost reminds me of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
How it looks like cell shaded and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, people, it might turn people off for like, if you don't like that kind of look. But I like it. It's a very like stylized look, and I like what they're going for.
Yeah, because like honestly, like the realistic look.
Like They
So,
didn't aim for that super realistic look, so
Nah.
yeah, so you can't like fault them for because that's not what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, actually, one more thing I wanted to mention is have you ever been out of the machine,
Oh
out of the cockpit?
no, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay,
No.
because during this boss fight, my machine got destroyed. Right?
What?
Yeah, because when you get destroyed, you don't just die.
You don't just die.
Right, your machine explodes. You have a limited. I think you have a limited amount of time to escape, or it ejects you. I forgot what happens, but
okay.
But you're on foot, right? And
okay, I didn't know that because I didn't die.
Yeah, so that's the unique thing about this is that you can exit your cockpit. You can go back to the demo and try it, but you can exit it without it being destroyed. And of course, you'll die faster because you're just a fucking pilot.
You're just a fucking human, yeah.
Yeah, but you know those modifications you make? It applies to your out of cockpit fighter. Like you could do like all kinds of shit. I haven't tested it out fully, but you could do because there's descriptions on what you can do, right? When you make those upgrades, right?
Right.
Like your limbs change and shit.
Yeah.
Right? So that's like a part of the game that's like not really explored yet, right? Because there's no missions where you have to be entirely on foot, right?
That's true. Now I think about it, like you were always like in your mech.
Yeah.
There weren't any parts that were like, oh, you got to this one part. Oh, guess it's time to go on foot because your mech is too big or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I want to. That's kind of mission diversity that I want to see. That they take combat outside of the mech too, so it's more diverse.
Because the developers obviously they bothered to put that in the game.
So they're planning something.
So there must be a purpose to it. Yeah, which I'm pretty excited for. Because depending on how they implement it, it could be super fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of looking forward to that. You know. All right, so Daemon X Machina, man, it's just nothing bad to say. It's gonna be awesome.
It was like a sleeper title. Like when it first got announced that one day, we were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Man, I already knew that was like one of the most hypest shit.
And then
ever.
you watched it, and you're like, "Whoa,
yeah,
that's pretty fucking cool."
Yeah, I'm kind of looking really forward to this game. All right, last thing. New Xenoblade project. So we did say that there might be a new Xenoblade, but that could mean a lot of different things, Gordon. Because during interviews, I think it's a Takahashi is the developer.
Yeah,
right?
the developer name.
So when he was asked about like what's the next Xenoblade gonna be, right? He said it could be Xenoblade 3, Xenoblade Chronicles X2, or something else entirely.
Okay.
Right, but he doesn't know. He didn't say which one is going to be most likely. So so here is some of the concept art of Monolith Soft games that have been floating around, right? And they look pretty different, but also still Xenoblade-esque. So I guess
you can definitely see it in that one screenshot of like the giant, like the Gower Plains looking place.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. We'll get to that in a bit.
I was like, what the hell is this, man?
All right, so what do you want the most, Gordon? Do you want like a Xenoblade 3? You know, and the main Xenoblade series is obviously more story focused.
Yeah.
Right, like the first two.
Yeah.
Do you want like a Xenoblade? Well, actually, you probably don't have much of an opinion on X2 because you never.
I never finished X1 yet, so.
I see. All right, so I guess you're probably leaning more towards Xenoblade 3 than anything else, huh?
I want to see a remake of 1, but, you know, obviously they're probably not going to do that.
But they're probably going to do that. It just won't be the main Xenoblade announcement, but that would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If anything, port it to Switch, so that way I can get my fucking hands on it. So.
Yeah, but between the 3 possibilities, you probably lean more towards like 3. Right?
You can play 3 for sure.
Yeah, I think any of the 3 would be hype, but
I mean, you leave it to Monolith Soft to make a good game, then you know they'll deliver.
They definitely will.
Yeah.
I don't know which I want the most actually. I'm okay with either of them.
I just know I remember the exploration in X was also just as good as the other 2.
Definitely.
The story just disappeared halfway through, but you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that with X2 they go back to having a good story because it was originally going to, but they're pretty valid development explanations why it didn't.
Why it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not the topic for today.
For now, yeah.
But I do hope that if they do make it, that means we'll get more scale combat or mega action.
Okay.
And it's kind of the big reason why I'm so into Daemon X Machina is because
of X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it reminded me of the skill combat there, but it's obviously for Xenoblade Chronicles X, the skill combat wasn't like a main, I guess, function of it.
Yeah.
It's like it's just something that you can
That
use.
you can do after.
Like if you want.
Yeah, because remember in X, you were also on foot a lot.
Yeah.
And you weren't always like in your skill, kind of like.
Yeah, the skill having the skill didn't replace the need for like on foot.
Yeah,
combat.
on foot like exploration and combat too.
Yeah. So obviously that was the mecha action wasn't the main focus of that. Whereas Daemon X Machina it is. So it's more polished and everything obviously. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about like a third new entry title unrelated to the other two. But,
well, what do you mean like third new unrelated? Like is
so it's not going to be a Xenoblade. It will be like an original IP.
Okay.
You know. And some of the concept art that you see here kind of reflects that, right? Like,
yeah, I was about to say it doesn't.
Yeah, because this is
like
not
in line with
because Xenoblade usually has like a futuristic look to it, right?
But semi-futuristic.
Yeah, semi-futuristic
with some fantasy setting, but this just looks like straight up like old.
Yeah, this is like has a more medieval look to it.
Yeah.
Right, you got these knights and stuff, right?
Yeah. This is what I was saying. Like you can obviously see like the area design here.
Yeah, speaking of which, like no matter what they announce, I think it's going to be amazing because obviously nobody does open world better than
like nobody does map design and open world exploration better than like Xenoblade, Xeno whatever the fuck. Like, you just know that they're gonna nail it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's the best thing about the Monolith Soft dudes is that it has the best, like you said, the best overall design because like the geographical architecture, really you don't find this in any other.
That's true.
RPG
you really don't
series.
find that in any other like.
Yeah, like this
game.
like this picture here, it's not just concept art. Like this is what you would actually get in a game.
Yeah.
Like you could be on top of that cliff looking at that city. You could walk to those cities on the edge of the cliffs there. You go to that mountain. You could dive down the water and then go to the city.
Yeah.
Right. And same thing with this one here. So this one's an older concept art. But
like how old are we talking? Like,
before Xenoblade 2.
Wow.
And I think
like one era or
like no, it was around the time of Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Okay.
I think it was before X came out, but I can't quite remember. I just know it's old. Okay. So like this, for example, right? You got a huge fucking city, like a castle that's kind of sitting on top of land, and then there's like a ramp that goes down to a city.
Yeah.
And this is like an actual. This would be a whole fully explorable piece of land.
Yeah.
Right, just like this. This would be fully explorable. This would be fully explorable. That's what you just get from Xenoblade games, right? That's just what it is. It's not like 15 where you have a giant city and only
that
part
you
of it
can't explore fully or like it looks pretty, but it's like, hey, that looks cool. Too bad you can't fucking go there. It's
right,
like,
you can only go to like maybe half or a fraction of the city.
Yeah, like
right?
what's the deal with that, man? Like at that point, why bother putting it in the game if I can't interact with it?
Yeah, exactly. So so I'm kind of curious as to what they'll come out with next. I don't know if you noticed, but they actually plan to have a 3DS game too, like Monolith Soft. Really? I don't know whatever happened to it. They didn't say it was canceled or anything, but at this point, I think it is safe to say
it's probably that 3DS game.
Yeah, well, I would have said it's a 3DS game because the 3DS game had different concept art.
Oh, that's true.
Right, I think maybe they were caught up in creating the next Xenoblade game,
which was Xenoblade 2.
Yeah,
at the time,
and then. Now that I got to work on the next Xenoblade game, obviously the Switch has.
The Switch, yeah. Well, you know that's where my money's going.
Yeah. So if they do make a medieval like Xenoblade, that would still be pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, I mean, we could just always expect to have
good, like
Yeah.
The usual Monolith Soft qualities that they're known for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I guess that's about it for now.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, Gordon?
I was about to say something, then it just slipped my mind. Fuck. Well, I guess that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So hope you enjoyed our podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good shit.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Julia.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming
Indeed,
over.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, just know that next time you don't have to actually physically come over.
Man.
All right, see you guys next time.